Welcome, everybody. We are back with our Survivor 42 power rankings. I'm here with Fan Guy and Aspen. Mike will be joining us later, hopefully. How are y'all feeling after episode 2? I think the editing, outside of one thing I'll get to, but everything is way better in the editing than last season.
Yeah. Yeah, they stepped it up. I actually kind of enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting to see more tribe dynamics than they showed us last season, which is, I mean, that's all we were asking for. Just like
Yes.
let us see these people interact with one another. So I enjoy that. I still think as far as like the rankings go, it's still pretty hard to rank a lot of the cast
It is.
because
Mhm.
it's kind of hard to see who's getting traction just yet.
Yeah, I will
Yeah.
say our rankings, a lot of people went down a lot and some people went up a lot. So it's a lot different than last week.
I know
But
my rankings personally were very different
Mine
than
too.
last week.
Yeah, mine
mine
too.
too.
Yeah,
But I agree. I like that we're actually just seeing tribe dynamics because that is something other than one tribe last season. The other two tribes were kind of hard to figure out what exactly was really going on.
Hmm.
which made it really hard to predict the winner because the winner came from the tribe that we saw nothing
Exactly.
from for the first half of the game.
And we didn't even see that much the second half of the game. I think my one thing with editing that they gave away both eliminations in the previews for, like, we knew Tori was staying last week because we saw that Tori was like talking about a beware advantage, and we also saw that Mary Ann was talking a beware advantage. So it made both people going home very obvious with the editing, unfortunately, because of that. So that was definitely a gaffe in the editing.
Yeah, they're having some oversights like that this season.
Yeah.
It's not the first one. They kind of
Get it together, CBS. Get it together.
CBS is such a mess in general. All right, we will get to our bottom two first, which is Mike and Tori. Mike is down 3 spots in very last place. Tori's down 1. Tori's kind of in the same bottom as where she was. We saw Mike find a beware advantage and lose it for a while and tell too many people that got told throughout the entire rest of the tribe. Any other thoughts on Mike, though?
Uh,
I mean, cardinal mistake, man. You can't tell. I mean, like, like I get it because like we've played games and you get a power and you want to share it with somebody because you feel like it's going to build trust to give them some information. But man, if you really trace these things more often than not, it makes you a bigger target because you have a power, even though you're trying to build allies with your power. It's crazy how it works. So he messed up bad. And then the fact he can't keep track of it. And we saw a preview of next week where apparently he loses it again. Like, come on, bro.
yeah. Don't deserve it. Definition of don't deserve it. I almost asked who was Mike because I didn't even rank him. And I mean, this just explains it. Honestly, we need to go back. Ah, we need to go back and because I honest to God don't know who has who. I just know my people and I need to know y'all's people. I need to know.
Well, for the record, nobody has Mike because even nobody in the comments drafted Mike yet. So, but the other Mike, our Mike's team, it left is he just lost Mariah, his number 1 pick, and then Daniel, Roxroy, and Jenny. Fan Guy has Drea, Lindsay, and Romeo left. I have Chanel, Tori, and Omar left, and you are the only person with 4 people left: Aspen, Jonathan, Hai, Swathi, and Lydia. So that is where that stands.
Okay, go.
One thing I will say about Mike, I mean, he finds this negative advantage, and I still don't like this advantage, and I'll get to more of this later. Though, actually, I'm not going to talk about this yet. I'll get to this later. Let me just make a note about
Losing your vote is a big deal in tribes of 6 or 5.
Bro, it's not
Losing
worth
your
the
vote.
risk.
Now, granted, it doesn't say on the outside of the beware advantage, you're going to lose your vote if you open this. But, and I think as a player, like if you're out there and you're living the Survivor experience, you have to take it. So it's like, I'm not going to knock anybody for taking an advantage that they find on Survivor, right? Because I feel like you're out there to play, so you got to take it. But It's a big penalty.
Yeah, agreed. And even honestly, what I would have done is, and this is me being in my little survivor brain, and if I was out there, I would have opened that shit and then I would have put that shit back and like brought somebody else with me to find it and be like, oh shit, open it,
Yeah, that's what did somebody do that last season?
I thought that I
Probably.
think so. Did they?
I don't
Yo,
remember. Or we talked about that they should do that for sure.
yeah. So I mean, I definitely would have, soon as I seen that, been like, oh, I gotta trap this on somebody else. Even if Jeff would have been like, no, it ain't allowed. Whoever seen it first is, I would have made them think that or whatever.
There's no rule you have to take it. I mean, look at last season. Jeannie didn't take the idol, and who was it? Either Shan or Ricard did. Like Shan took it, so she can clearly say, "I don't want it," and then just give it to someone else. So popping in here, I don't know where we're at in the discussion.
Before we get to our bottom two, Mike, how do you feel about your number one draft pick, Mariah, going home?
All right, I'll say this about Mariah. I don't regret my pick. She seems like a wonderful person. She does seem like a smart person. I don't think she did anything wrong. I just think her personality didn't click with this tribe. You know, that is just straight up. There is so much luck in a game like this. I think she still has all the tools that someone would need to win the game of Survivor. But she just didn't gel with her starting tribe. And if you don't do that, you're probably not going to win no matter how many tools you have. So, you know, I think she did fine. I hope she found what she was looking for out there.
Yeah, hopefully. I wanted to wait till Mike got here to talk about the other editing thing I didn't like, or the hosting thing I didn't like. But, you know, the whole fucking episode, or at least her part of the episode, focuses on her brother's death. And then Jeff brings them in, and this is where, like, the tribal, and like, this is where death happens or something. And I'm like, I don't think this editing really connects positively at all. It was very bad.
I didn't catch that when they were all walking into tribal. He's just, or did he say it during the middle of it or whatever?
I think at the beginning of tribal.
He's just a dork. That's all.
He said it right when they walked in. Like, that was the first thing he said basically when they walked in.
But I think that was more of an editing mistake because they focused on that in this episode, and then they included that too. I didn't like it. All right.
I think her dropping the ball in that first challenge actually did hurt her because she really messed up a big lead that they had in the first challenge. And the only reason that I think they voted her out over Marianne was because they viewed Marianne to be a stronger competitor in the for the competitions than Mariah. And I think had maybe she not messed up that first challenge and they may have put them a little closer to even as far as the challenges go, it may have gone the other way.
I think it's I really just think they didn't bond with her as well as they bonded with Marianne. I just think, and a lot of that probably came from, they all come back from this first challenge. You're meeting your tribe. Who's the easiest person to ostracize? The person who dropped the ball in the challenge. And it's really easy to have an in-group, even if it's very informal. Your in-group is just everyone who didn't screw up the challenge. So you're going to bond more with those people, spend more time with those people, talk more strategy with those people, and it just snowballs.
I don't like this tribe. I just want to say that. They all almost get on my nerves in some way, shape, or form. But also, the whole tribe made a mistake when they made Jonathan be the caller and not Marianne, who's obviously loud. Why was Jonathan calling that challenge?
Jonathan was loud. And if I am remembering correctly, I don't know what order they picked.
Jonathan got loud. Jonathan did not start the challenge loud.
Yeah, that's fair. But I don't know what order they picked it in. But if I remember correctly, we had Lydia and Drea calling for the other two teams. And let's say hypothetically they got to be the third caller. Maybe you pick a more masculine sounding voice than the two feminine sounding voices, hoping you'll be able to pick it out of the crowd better. Does that necessarily work out? Probably not, but people might think along those lines.
I still think you're hearing Marianne over anybody.
It's also a size discrepancy, I think, because they're like linked together. And so I think with someone who's that big on a tribe with a lot smaller people, you may not want to pair a giant with some smaller people in comps where you're tied together because It just
Because
doesn't.
he gonna drag their ass.
Any quick thoughts on Tori before we move on? I feel like she could recover within that tribe, maybe.
I ranked Tori just because she, I think, has recovered because the girls are talking to her. Drea wants to do a girls thing, and Swathi wants to work with Tori. Like she's like, and as long as people want to use your number, they're gonna keep you around. So I think Tori actually is very much on the path to recovery. So I gave her a very low spot in my ranking just to give her a few props for that.
I can't stand Tori. Like she's like honestly my least favorite member of the whole cast. Personality wise, she just really irks the shit out of me. And I have this really bad vision, and I hope it doesn't come true, that she does turn things around. And because I can't see them showing that conversation with her and Swathi about getting out Drea unless something was going to come from that. And so I think Tori's trajectory is going to be dependent on if they can convince Roxroy and Romeo that Drea actually brought that sort of deal to him and turned the whole tribe against Drea. That is going to be Tori's way out of this mess. And I think it's going to be her or Drea that goes next from that tribe.
Yeah, maybe. Unless the women just actually do end up voting together and vote out like...
They don't seem like they want to work with her, which I don't understand. Like, she's a
Yeah.
strong player. She seems like a smart girl. I do not understand why they would immediately turn on Drea. But it goes back to what we said right before, before Mike got here, whereas you can't tell people you have a power. When you tell people you have a power, for whatever reason, it makes them want to target you, even though in my brain it shouldn't, because they're showing you the most amount of trust that they could be showing.
And she went to a summit, so even if she had protected her vote and didn't get that power, let's just pretend that everyone is totally hoodwinked by the opening challenge where they come back covered in dirt, so they don't even think she could possibly get anything from that. But she went to a summit. She probably has at least a chance to have something. They all know it. So that, I think, is one reason you're getting targeted.
All right, our other bottoms are Roxroy, who's up 3 spots. He was dead last week. I don't know why he went up, but some of you put him in the top 10. And then Romeo falls 7 spots, and then Mary Ann falls 7 spots as well to barely miss the top 10. So it's Roxroy, Romeo, Mary Ann rounding out the bottom 5. We'll start with Roxroy.
I ranked him just because there's so many people that I didn't want to rank. He was at the bottom of my rankings because I just didn't feel like he's on the outs. All the people I didn't rank, I felt are on the outs of their tribe, which is why I'm shocked Romeo is this low. Romeo is not on the outs of that tribe. Romeo is in probably, if not the most secure spot on that tribe. So I'm baffled that he's not ranked. But Roxroy, I mean, he's just not, Roxroy for me is just not in a terrible spot. So I rank both these guys.
I just think I have some bias against the blue tribe just from everything we've seen. I just don't think the blue tribe is a good, like, individual comprised of good individuals as far as winning the game of Survivor goes. I don't like what I've seen from pretty much everyone, with 1 or 2 exceptions who I've ranked later on. So that includes Roxroy. I mean, he just, when I picked him, I know he's my guy. I picked him. He seemed pretty laid back and wise, and well, that isn't the Roxroy we've been shown in the first episode, and then the second episode, we weren't shown Roxroy. So what am I supposed to think?
Yes, the one thing we see from him is him hurting his balls in the challenge.
Yeah.
I do think Marianne should be out of the ranks, though, because she is clearly on the bottom of that tribe. She almost got voted out in the last one. The other 3 are clearly closer than they are to her. So I think it's pretty safe to not put her in the top 10.
I almost ranked Romeo, but also I just don't know. I don't know where he actually really stands in the game because I don't know the exact dynamics of that tribe. I mean, he seems like the glue to the alliance of Roxroy and Drea. But if that alliance falls apart, then what does he really have?
That's the whole thing, is Drea's like clearly looking at other options. She wanted to vote out someone in this 3, and then this episode she's like, well, I want to do something else, so I'm going to go talk to the girl. So that, combined with the only thing I remember of Romeo from the episode was him complaining that Zach got voted out. So like, you're not like inspiring me with confidence. Maybe he is still scared to be there.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, you are hilarious, yeah. Yeah, Roxroy, he doing bad as I suspected. I told y'all I called it. I said he was gonna do bad. He just awkward. He weird. He don't. I don't feel like he is going to make it. And yeah, jumping on what Mike said, like, bro, Romeo is talking about fucking out here crying because they voted out Zach, the other skinny guy, like toothpick twig alliance. And so like I'm just like, bro, like where is he really not on the bottom?
How any other thoughts on Marianne?
I think Marianne's next out if they lose. So
Definitely.
I ranked her low. I gave her bottom 3 ranking in my ranking because she got to survive due to her social connections this episode. But I think she's gone if they go again, barring some idle shenanigans or people telling each other they found idols or advantages. I think that's like the only thing that's going to save her at this point. Because if we're just going off social bonds from what they've shown us, it's a very tight 3 with Marianne on the outside.
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, it's sad, it's hard because I know she's just excited to be out there and she just is like being her weird self. And I feel for her, because it's like, dang, she just is trying to be herself, but like people are taking it the wrong way and being like, oh my gosh, she just too much and too young. And like, I don't know, it's sad because obviously I hate to see my people like being done like that. And damn it, I wish she would just like tone it down, but I think she just is young and excited and it's hard to hide it. And I think us older cats, we know how to tone it down sometimes and not.
I'm glad you finally called yourself older, Aspen.
I mean, y'all.
I mean, I was just about to say I'm a curmudgeon because like I love her energy, but I'm with the older people. Like if it was constantly on like that and you're in Survivor and you're starving and you're not in a great mood some of the time, I would be annoyed with that just up to 100 all the time too. I would.
She's a chatty captain. She's an equivalent of having Anthony on your team in some ways.
I would not want to live on an island, I don't think, with her. But as a TV viewer, oh my god, I love Marianne. She's hilarious.
Exactly.
I hope
She's
she
like
somehow
Anthony.
finds a way out of this hole. Yeah, exactly. Just like Anthony. I'm like, I don't know if I'd want to be with Anthony in a game, but watching him, I was a supporter of him. But same thing with Marianne. She's hilarious. She's good TV. So maybe they just went out.
Yeah, social media is very split on her. They either love her or they think she's very annoying. I like people though that can be like, would I want to be on a team with her? I think she would get on my nerves eventually. But I do love people that could just be themselves 100%. So I respect that.
Yeah.
I think it's both. I think it's both, Nick, because I love her and I'm annoyed by her. Like I love her energy and her exuberance, but I also can see that like it's just a lot.
And you know who seemed pretty toned down? Mariah. And where's Mariah? Just saying, maybe toning it down is not always the right.
She might have been too toned down.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think her only thing that could save Marianne is if she has one advantage. If she gets another, then she'll survive this tribe. But we'll move on to number 10, which is Aspen's number 1, which I don't know exactly. That is Lydia.
Okay.
Lydia comes in at.
When you said that, I thought Aspen was ranking Jonathan at number 1, and I'm like, he's all the way down at 10. But no, okay, Lydia makes sense. I didn't rank Lydia because despite her good challenge performance, I don't know where she stands in this group.
Same.
Bro, she killed the challenge. Are you serious? She won that for them.
Okay. But tell me how she survives the vote, and then we'll get talking about getting her in the rankings.
I'm actually relooking at her tribe right now because I ranked her 10th, so she was right here for me. I know why. It's because I think that Mike and Jenny are on the outs of that tribe personally, and so I think Lydia has a pretty clear shot for a little while.
Maybe.
She did say something effective like, "Both you bitches get over here" during the challenge, apparently. So good on her.
I mean, I will say, Q told me this. We'll see if Aspen agrees. Q told me that calling a black woman a bitch, that's going to just put a target on Lydia's back for Chanel. So would you agree with that, Aspen?
Yeah. Well, 1000%. 1000%. Yes. Q, no. She's spot on. Spot on.
Yeah, I mean, Lydia, I also don't know where she stands with this tribe. I do think there's a possibility that Jenny and Mike could be on the outs, but we don't see anywhere that Lydia is with anybody.
Yeah.
At least Mike and Jenny have some connection. We saw Jenny with Chanel. We saw Mike with Daniel.
It just feels like they're targeting. It feels like they're targeting Mike, and therefore, by proxy, his closest ally in my brain would be the next, target.
Any other thoughts on Lydia? I mean, she's your number one, Aspen.
I've ranked her number one, I'm pretty sure.
But why?
Well, because
because she's on your team?
No, not just because she's on my team. Actually, she won the challenge for them. She led them to first place victory. And I thought she was going to be like a layup and a go. I thought she was legit going to be the Dee of this season. And it turns out like, no, she can actually do
it in there. She just slides it in there.
That's just what I thought.
I still think she's like kind of on the bottom of things, but maybe she'll surprise us. I mean, Twitter loves her, and that's enough for me to think that she's going to do bad in this game because Twitter, at least with Big Brother and kind of with Survivor, is always wrong. So since Twitter loves Lydia, I expect her to go pre-merge, but maybe she won't.
She ain't.
All right, number 9 was this. This was your number 1, fan guy. Number 9 is Omar.
I did rank him number 1, so I'll lead on this. I think this guy's social as hell. He's really impressed me with his social ability this week. And look, I cannot fathom. I'm just going to call you all out on this. You cannot rank Jonathan higher than Omar. They are a duo, and Jonathan will be targeted first of that duo. It's really simple for me. I think that's the strongest alliance in the game is Jonathan, Lindsay, and Omar. That at least that's the strongest alliance that we've seen. And Omar's like the brains of it. He's not gonna. And he's with 2 physical threats. Physical threats always go before mental threats in Survivor. So Omar should easily be ranked higher than both Lindsay and Jonathan.
I did rank Omar higher than Jonathan. Because I do think if that trio gets to the merge, then yes, Jonathan should be a quick target, I would think. But I guess if this team keeps losing, then maybe Omar could go before Jonathan. Although I think Omar seems savvy enough to stick around.
And they're tight, man. Like that was the duo that it really focused in on this episode was Jonathan and Omar. So you know that they're tight. They're not going to turn on each other. So the only way at this point, with only 4 people left on that tribe, there's really no way either of them's going anywhere. If they're as tight as they're showing us.
When after that tribe lost the challenge, my mom turned to me and asked, "Who do you think's going to go?" And I said, "I think it's going to be Omar or Jonathan because they're making it very clear they're a duo with in a tribe of 5, and then they weren't even seemingly targeted at all." So that tells me that they're now in the pole position of this tribe, and I ranked Omar 5th, straight smack dab in the middle. Good social player in a strong spot in his tribe. He seems like a really solid player. So far, so that's just where I put him.
All right. We will move on to number 8, which is a fall from grace from our number 1 last week. It is Drea coming in at 8th place.
Well deserved. I mean, sis dropped the ball. They coming for her. She she's sharing 1.2 at this point. I mean, like it just was pretty early for me for homegirl to already be like she's just doing stuff.
Overplaying. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And she borderline comes off like she has a bad attitude at times. Like she's like mean to people, like just kind of real. Like she kind of is though. Like some of the looks and things she says to people, I'm just like, damn, Drea, come on, you my number one pick. Let's do this. And you're pushing everybody away by like, and then she's got this alliance with two people, and then she goes and tries to make an alliance with the other two people, and you can't do that this early. It's one thing if there's 5 people left in the game, but there's 5 people left on this tribe. And she's made it so easy for those two sides to come together and go, F this girl. Like she's trying to play all of us. So bye. So I dropped her. She deserved the fall.
Yeah, as soon as she was like, I got this alliance with Roxroy and Romeo, and then it's like ... But I'm gonna go make a new alliance with the girls. I'm like, here's your downfall, Architraya. Here it is. Didn't think it was coming this soon, but yeah. I mean, she still has 2 advantage. I dropped her, but I didn't take her off my rankings because she still has 2 advantages, and people can talk about targeting someone all day long, but when the cards are on the table, let's see if her name actually gets written down.
Her biggest weakness for me is this. I feel like you talk about this a lot on conventionals in our games, Fan Guy, about how, just seeing the board and how it lies. I don't think she has a good grasp on the board at all, honestly, on her own tribe.
Not if she's doing what she did with trying to, like, you literally can't do that, because the only way the girls are going to have the power to take her out is to go to the other side now. And they know that because that's the only way you're going to amass the votes. So that's a foregone conclusion that if Tori and Swathi are going ahead and trying to make a move on her, they will go to the other side to try to do that. And so, like I said, it just comes down to how all that plays out. And will they do that, or will they change their mind and decide to work with her? We just don't know yet. But I find it kind of weird that they would immediately want to turn on her.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
When she's giving them the olive branch and peace offering and saying, let's get rid of these other two. It just as much as it baffles me that she's going to try to play both sides like that, it baffles me that the girls would be like, no, we don't want to go with you. We'd rather go with the other two. Yeah. That makes no sense to me. None of it makes any sense to me.
I do kind of agree. I think she's kind of getting a villain edit, though. So, I mean, she's only going to do good in this game if she's a villain about it, because that's the edit she's getting. Is that enough to win, though? I don't know.
I still think she could win at the end if she gets there. I think she's going to be able to plead her case well, and she'll probably have had to play a good game to get there.
Any other thoughts, Andrea? All right. Coming in at number 7, probably slightly helped from my rankings, even though he's no longer my number 1. It is High coming in at number 7. He's kind of another one we don't exactly know where he stands on his tribe.
He ain't meat, though.
That's where he's staying.
Which speaks to me that his social game is still up to par at what it needs to be, because he's socially fitting in, eating meat as a vegan.
True. Honestly, I gave him props because he wasn't out here looking like, who was that? Was that Kimmy? That Kimmy. Fucking Kimmy, yo. I thought he was gonna pull a Kimmy and be like, no, I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna eat meat. I'm not gonna compromise myself. And what's funny is he ate it and it was good and he liked it. I'm like, exactly.
He felt guilty. Very guilty.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal. Like, look, if you're not a vegan or a vegetarian, which I'm not, but I have friends that are, it is a big deal to them. So him eating that is a huge step. He is actually sacrificing some of his personal beliefs to keep energy for the game. And how can you not give the guy props for that?
Any other thoughts on High?
I think he made the right call to continue to fuel himself. I feel like he came in was expecting rice, reasonably so, with lots of precedent to getting rice. And he's like, oh, the tribe might be eating fish, but there'll always be rice for me. Until there isn't, and I feel for him. I really feel for him. Tough call.
And he still has a power, I had him a little higher than 7 just because I think his social game's good. He's got a power, and but he's middle of the pack.
All right, number 6, another person falling. This time, falling from number 2 is Jenny coming in at number 6.
Yeah, I actually didn't rank her.
I didn't. How could you rank her? She's at the bottom of that tribe.
I didn't rank her because I think she's not looking too hot right now. On my team, again, I'm not happy with most of my team on week 2. Week 1, I was feeling pretty okay, but week 2 is dealing a lot of blows to me. All we really saw from Jenny is she kind of caught a hermit crab, and I don't know. I just couldn't rank her. I don't feel like she's safe if they go to tribal. I like ranking people that I feel like if they have to vote, will they survive the vote? If the answer is yes, I'm trying to stick them in the ranking. If the answer is no, probably not going to rank you, or you're towards the bottom. And I haven't seen a lot to reassure me that she's safe. I think they'd be dumb to get rid of her because she's really good. She seems really good at puzzles, and I think there's other people in that tribe that need to go before her. But I don't know if they'll actually do that.
I mean, it's fair. I still ranked her fairly high because I don't know if she's at the very bottom of this tribe. Is that not Mike? Or even Lydia, who we see no connections from with anybody.
All Mike has to do, though, is activate his idol, and suddenly Jenny is in boiling water.
That's true.
Jenny just doesn't strike. I don't know, man. She talked a big game, and I'm not seeing it other than her, puzzle acumen that she showed us. I'm not seeing this huge charismatic threat that she was claiming to be. I'm just not seeing it. The only person she seemed to connect with on that tribe at all is Mike. And I'm actually blown away that she was ranked this high, because she just doesn't have a lot of agency or anything going on in this game.
See, I don't even know that.
I just thought she wasn't doing that bad of a job. I mean, who said that she been killing the puzzles? So, I mean, I thought that, y'all, what is with y'all not even giving nobody credit for challenges? Y'all ain't trying to give my girl credit. Y'all ain't trying to give Jenny no credit.
I will give Jenny credit for puzzles, because I feel like that's someone you want to keep around for a while.
I give him some credit, but I think Aspen, you're weighing the physical game this heavy, and the other things from hearing your ranking.
Well, no, Jenny was talking to that one girl when it was catching a crab together.
Chanel had a moment. I mean, we've seen nothing negative from Jenny, have we? I mean, she didn't try to get the fucking power last week, but she was the only one, and she had the right read to not do it, or they were all going to lose a vote.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems to me like for sure she's, second to last on that tribe. And I'm kind of with Mike, where if I think you can go to tribal and get voted out, I'm gonna have a hard time putting you in my top 10. And I think that behind Mike, she's next to go on that tribe.
All right, number 5, up quite a bit from last week, is Swathi.
I think she is the best. I put her, I think, probably the highest of anyone. I put her really high this week because I wanted to give someone on Blue Tribe credit. And if there's a strategic powerhouse in the Blue Tribe, I no longer believe it's Drea. I think it's Swathi. From everything we've seen, everyone seems to come to her and trust her, at least the girls, who are the majority right now. And I don't think it's that hard to believe she'll pick up an extra vote. She got her way last time. when she really wanted to keep Tori, and now that's paying dividends because it seems like Tori is just going to do whatever Swathi says. Drea's like, we'll all work together. And as soon as Drea leaves, Swati's like, she needs to go. And Tori's like, oh, you're so right. She's so right. She needs to go. So I think Swati's got herself a loyal ally on that tribe and is positioned quite well. So I gave her props for that.
Agreed. That's my girl. I feel like y'all was talking shit about her being young, but I feel like she hella smart. She playing a good social game.
She's very smart. And she has a decent social game, I agree.
I can't. I mean, we kind of just commented on it. We were talking about Drea. I thought her move to target Drea immediately was terrible. I don't think it's a strategic move at all. I think it's a dumb move, considering she is a very smart girl. I think this is a very dumb move. You have someone handing you the majority of your tribe, and you're wanting to turn on them to trust two other people that you're not close to. You're not. There's no way I can wrap my head around that. It doesn't make any sense.
It's fair. I think she may be a little high, but I do think she is probably the savviest player on the blue tribe from what we've seen out of them anyway. I mean, Romeo may be the most socially savvy, but all right. Well, then that brings us to number 4. He's only down 1 spot. It is Jonathan.
I don't hate to see him ranked. I mean, I just don't see how you put him higher than. Obviously, he's not higher than Lindsay, which is good. But I don't see how he's higher than Omar, because I do think he's the bottom of that 3. But I think this is the strongest trio in the game right now from what we see. So, of course, I'm going to rank Jonathan, even though I don't think he's going to be able to plead his case at final against anyone and actually pull it off. So I think his chances of winning the game are close to 0. I think his chances of getting far into the game are pretty good.
So, preseason, I said Xander highest upside because I said something very similar to what Fan Guy just said. Is I don't think he's going to be able to win in front of a jury. But seeing the genuine connections he seems to be building on Yellow Tribe, I still don't think he's going to win. But I think he's not going to win for a very different reason, is he's going to get voted out because now, buddy, now you're becoming at least a strong double threat. And if you have a strategic game at any point, if you ever make a move prior to mid-merge or later when you can comp out, guess what, buddy? Everyone's going to now see you as a triple threat, and good luck getting to the end. Maybe he's more along a Ricard trajectory than a Xander trajectory. But that's just my food for thought on it. I trashed Aspen for this pick, but Aspen, I would rather have him on my team than pretty much most other people I got. So props, hats off to you on that one.
Thank you.
What do you got to say about your boy, Aspen?
He is killing it, yo. I mean, he is straight. Oh, God. It's like, wow. Look at you. Look at you having that. You ain't just. I thought he was dumb at first, like I'm like, oh God, he gonna be dumb because he got a little beach shop. But no, he's smart and he personable and he really likes Marianne. And I'm like, okay, all right, I see you. He killing that shit.
Yeah, Mike is right, because that was Xander's huge weakness. He could not build social connections to save his life, and Jonathan's doing a way better job of that.
But being smart and being social are not the same thing. This guy is not smart. He could not count triangles. He literally counted less triangles than were visibly there. But socially,
Man, God, let it go. That was last week, bro.
I'll say this. If I'm coming into the game of Survivor, trying to play whatever style of game, 9 times out of 10, I'm picking a dumb but socially sound and good at challenges ally over someone who's like a smart schemer, always sitting there thinking things through. 9 times out of 10, there are scenarios you want at least one person like that on your side. But like Jonathan is just like perfect meat shield. He's literally just like this perfect, and Omar sees it, and other people are gonna see it. Sometimes people like that win. It's not very common, but sometimes they can. So Jonathan has blown away my preseason expectations of him so far. Good on him.
His social game is really good. I mean, his social game and his physical game are really good. But I'm never going to think that this guy's the sharpest tool in the shed because he's shown us that he's not.
You don't have to be smart to win Survivor. You
I
just
concur.
have to be well liked in front of a jury.
I think being smart helps when presenting your final argument. I usually think smarter people are going to craft better arguments as to why they should win.
I often think, and I still stand on this hill pretty strongly, that the majority of jurors heading into Final Tribal Council know who they're going to vote, and their mind is not going to be changed. Whether they admit that to themselves or other people is another story entirely, but I really think they're just going to go in and they're just going to vote for whoever pissed them off the least or whoever they like the most. It's what people do. It's human nature.
That's fair.
That is super fair.
All right, coming in at number 3, also up a lot from last week, is Lindsay. The I guess the outsider of the duo, but she's kind of in the trio. And guy, you have her high. I have her high too. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, same reason I had Omar number 1. I put Lindsay number 2. They're to me of that trio, the 2 safer members that we just talked about. Jonathan. I think Jonathan's going to be the easy vote out of those 3 when it push comes to shove, because people are going to just look at him and go, well, this is the guy we want to get out before Lindsay and Omar. Lindsay's also super physical. It looks like she's in great shape. She does good in the challenges. She seems like the elements are wearing on her a little, but I imagine that's happening to everyone. I just think she's in a great position because she's not in any danger of this tribe.
I too think she's in a very good position in this tribe because I feel like if anybody's in the middle of the tribe, which is sometimes a good place to be, it's her. Although the middle of the tribe is kind of out after this week, but nonetheless. Any other thoughts on Lindsay?
No.
You're on mute, Mike.
I put her pretty much around the same place I put Omar for exactly the same reason. She just is well connected on a tribe, but that's about all there is to it.
All right, it was close between our number 1 and number 2. Coming in at number 2 is Chanel. What are your thoughts on Chanel?
We still haven't seen a ton from her, right? We really haven't. We got a little bit more from her on this episode, which I liked because I've been high on her since preseason. And for me, it's just that she's not disappointing me. She's showing me exactly what I saw preseason. She's bringing it. She's ready to play. She seems tight with Daniel. They seem to have a pretty good relationship on that tribe, and I foresee them running that tribe. So for me, it's, she just seems in a really good spot.
Yeah, I think she's also in a good spot. And I actually think that this is the strongest duo so far, maybe, that we're going to see. But, I mean, it's a toss-up between Omar and Jonathan. But I think Chanel and Daniel are a strong duo until they want to turn on each other because they're both game bots.
But I think Chanel is the org player, and Chanel should know you don't turn on your strategic partner this early in the game. As someone who's well-versed in that sphere, loses your games. It's just a universal constant. You take them out late merge. You don't take them out pre-merge. So this duo will fare good for a while. Their tribe doesn't look to be getting decimated in a similar way, but I could see them as the Shannon Ricard of this season, where they strategically run things. Maybe with a better ending where for them. Maybe
because
for
they
a
actually
better
have
ending for them.
numbers.
They actually have numbers. Yeah, exactly. Like, imagine if Shannon Ricard had been able to carry Jeannie and Brad into the merge, or Jeannie and JD into the merge. They have these loyal people who are just eating out of their hand. Imagine if we could have had that. So
You're right.
Yeah, food for thought.
The question mark for me with this tribe is, where do Lydia and Hyde stand? We know that Mike and Jenny are kind of with each other. We know that Daniel and Chanel are kind of with each other. If I had to bet, I'm going to say the Hyde and Lydia are more with Chanel and Daniel. Hence why I think that the other two are on the outs.
Yeah, I agree with that assessment, which is why my ranking shook out the way that they did.
Mine did as well. Number 1 is Daniel, so we can include him in this, I guess. He's
There we go. The one person carrying my team that I drafted on my back, on his back. So what a legend. I ranked him number 1. There is, I think, a little bit of Homer bias in that. But I mean, I think he is a part of the best duo we've seen. I saw amazing strategy from him with the whole Mike thing. Like he said, he's just like, don't say the phrase, Mike, and Mike just like buys it. Which like he's clearly got these people liking him. His whole thing, episode 1 was like, oh man, I really effed up that challenge, and they still like me. It's such a good feeling, which I'm sure it is. So he's got the social game, he's got the strategic game, and he doesn't seem like a slouch for like certain challenges. You know what I mean? Maybe if there's not too much heavy lifting, he'll be all right.
I also put him at number 1 this week. Also because he did have a good strategic week, and I do think him and Chanel are a good duo. But also because they made sure to include a clip of Daniel kissing Jeff Probst's ass, talking about, oh, the Beware advantage is such a great twist. This Jeff Probst was a great idea. Oh, blah, 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 blah. So, I mean, clearly production's going to love this guy, right?
He does strike me as the type of player that Jeff tends to, man crush on in these seasons. He strikes me as the Pinder and the weatherman, like all the cats that Probst really likes. He fits the profile. And he seems really smart. He seems really aware, and he seems even connected to everyone on that tribe, including the people he's targeting. What more can you do? This guy's and he popped his shoulder back into place. Let's go.
He has a lot going for him with the edit, with the production, with his strategies. It's a lot.
He's also just funny. I do see a lot of comparisons. I love my past Survivor comparisons, but I do see a lot of comparisons to Rick Devens, but maybe a Rick Devens who I think is much more likable. Not that I actually was one of the few people I think that actually liked Rick Devens as a TV viewer, but like I like Daniel a lot more. Like he just like there's something about him where he's sitting on the sideline, laughing at people getting hit in the balls, where you just can't help but like the guy. I don't know what it is, but he has charisma, and it just comes through the television screen in a way I don't think it necessarily does for everybody.
Can we all just agree again that the Beware advantage sucks, though?
But he's playing it so well that I think he's actually killed the advantage. I think he's actually killed.
I hope so. I think the viewers killed the advantage. But I think here's why the Beware advantage also sucks. It's because like there's no way to play this for anybody, because you tell everybody about the advantage and it's going to come back to bite you in the ass. You don't tell your teams about the advantage while the other tribes already told their teams about the advantage. So at the merge, everybody's going to know you have an idol. So there's like it's a total downside in every single way.
But like Daniel is like clearly he's in a good spot and he knows it. So he's like, what can ruin my game? An idol. And then he reads this twist and he's like, boom, here's how we stop this from happening. Mike doesn't say the phrase. We have a plan to get rid of Mike if it seems like he will be able to activate it anytime soon. So I'm
not taking away from him playing it. I'm just taking away from him saying it.
No. The advantage it should be gone, because I think Daniel has just like come up with the strategy, which is just like, don't say the phrase, don't activate the idols. Like, it's brilliant, honestly.
I like the concept of having an advantage that has a drawback. I'm okay with that concept. But the implementation where you need people on each tribe, it's too much. It's like too much of a drawback. Like it's okay to throw, a little, maybe you can't vote at one tribal and, then it's an idol or something. It's okay to have a Beware advantage with a drawback, but I just think they're just going overboard with the weird statements and stuff. And it's just too much. I
will say, someone on Twitter, I wish I remembered who to give this girl credit. I think she was joking, but was saying that we're gonna flash back in a couple episodes to Marianne saying she has a crush, that the white guy that she crushes on is like Zach, and that's gonna be because she found a beware advantage, and that was her saying, because that was asked at the beginning of the challenge. So it's a theory.
But like, why would
It's not
they,
real, because
they go out there to the buried idol, take it out, and write, "You have a crush on Zach, LOL." Like, Mike gets that phrase, and he's like,
it was
"Oh,
a
I
joke.
might."
By the way.
I know it was a joke, but that's pretty funny.
That they made it so awkward with her about that crush that I was like, dang. She's like, I've been rejected 100% of the times. I'm like, yikes. Jeff's like, aw, keep hope alive, love, or whatever.
Well, her and Zach are playing it up on Twitter, so maybe they'll go on a date.
Oh, it's so great. I found it really funny. I don't remember who it was. I think it was Mariah, who was like, maybe they can have a romance in Ponderosa, LOL. When you were thinking about voting her out, I think it was whoever was with Mariah actually, because that does not sound like something Mariah would say. That might have been like Omar,
Yeah,
or
probably.
Lindsay.
Well, any final thoughts on Daniel and Chanel as our 1 and 2? This was my 1 and 2, so it worked out.
My number one pick, Daniel's really doing good for me because he was definitely my first pick, right, guys?
We let you get him at the.
I can't believe you guys let me get him, man.
I knew he went too late. I called it then. I was like, this guy is the steal. This guy's the steal of this whole draft. He just fits the profile of people who typically do well on Survivor.
And he's a law clerk, so fan guy, the debate club champion. He likes people who he thinks can do the final tribal council well. And this guy, let's say if that's a big factor, he can do it well.
I had full confidence in Zach's final tribal speech, but he got eliminated, just right before final tribal. So
just right before. I thought you said Zach was only winning little league equivalent games.
I think his debate career was that, but I think him and Marianne will make the cutest couple. Like her energy and his little dorkiness, and I love that together. I really do.
Zach has genuinely made me laugh from like 3 different tweets he's done, which is great. Like, I feel like we were robbed a little bit of seeing more of him on the show, but also the storyline he's been given to just be a comedian outside of the show is perfect. So, and how many times do we see people in other tribes, or like even after someone gets voted out? Like Zach was talking about like 4 times in this episode. Like,
true.
I think he got more screen time than they gave to some players still in the game. So,
well, he got more screen time than they gave half the players last season. So there's that. All right. Any final thoughts overall?
I'm liking this more than the last season, by a lot. There were a lot of like little moments that just like really made me enjoy the episode, like High's moral dilemma, the challenge. I love Blindfolded challenge. My favorite challenge of all time was the Blindfolded challenge, the one they did in Vanuatu. If you've never seen it, just watch the challenge. It is hilarious. I'm enjoying it.
As long as they don't bust out an hourglass and have somebody break it.
Well, they're probably gonna.
They're trying to mirror the twists.
I know.
They better not bring all them same twists back. That's so annoying.
They basically said they were gonna, because they didn't watch Survivor 41, so we're gonna have to.
They've made some slight alterations to some of these, and I don't know where I heard this or how accurate this is, but there's been talk that their alteration to the Hourglass challenge is just a simple, you're safe no matter what you do. So that you essentially just pick a group to win the challenge, which still a bad twist if it happens, but much better than LOL, you're only safe if you do this.
Yeah,
like,
I guess, but I mean,
well, at least there's a reason to make a choice.
And maybe just turn it. Maybe just turn the hourglass this time.
right?
Just smash it again. They want their dramatic B-roll footage.
You're losing all of the essence of an hourglass whenever you like. What are we doing here?
I don't know. All right. Well, until next week, these are our rankings. I think Daniel's gonna go far. probably Chanel too, maybe. So I do think that's a good number one.
Probably Jonathan too.
Probably. All right. That is all for this week.